Hello and a very warm welcome to yet another delightful edition of the program CAC Weekly, a weekly program that keeps you abreast on the activities and the achievement of the Corporate Affairs Commission. I am Amina Jabril. Coming up, CAC official updates us on entity electronic accounts and tells us why it is important for companies. Plus, we shall tell you how to register a company online unaided. Right after this break, to stay with us. And welcome back. In continuation of its reform initiatives, the Corporate Affairs Commission, CAC, had unveiled the Entity Electronic Account, EEA, via a public notice dated 18 February 2021. Public notice on creation of Entity Electronic Account. The general public is hereby informed that companies, business names, and incorporated trustees may now apply to the Commission for the creation of electronic accounts for their entities. The account would allow the entities to submit documents and statutory returns to the Commission by electronic means. An entity's electronic account shall be administered by an officer of the entity, the authorized officer, designated by the majority of the directors, partners, and trustees on that behalf and in accordance with Section 101 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020. Any information, document, or return submitted through an entity's electronic account shall be deemed duly authenticated. To download the application form, which is from CAC-MISC3, go to www.cac.gov.ng. Duly completed application forms should be forwarded to the Commission by courier. Upon creation, the notice would be sent to the directors, partners, and trustees by email, while the electronic account credentials would be forwarded to the authorized officer, also by email. Notes: 1. Any director, partner, proprietor, trustee, secretary, or officer of the entity may be designated the authorized officer for the entity. 2. The authorized officer may create sub-administrators for the entity's electronic account. 3. The directors, partners, trustees may from time to time change the authorized officer and remove any or all the sub-administrators. 4. Copy of any recognized and valid means of photo identification for the authorized officer should be attached to this application. To subscribe for updates on the filing of a company, business name, or incorporated trustees at the Commission, click on the following link: search.cac.gov.ng. Signed, Management. In the statement, the CAC had informed the general public that companies, business names, and incorporated trustees may apply to the Commission for the creation of the electronic account for their entities. The accounts would allow the entities to submit documents and statutory returns to the Commission by electronic means. It added that an entity's electronic account shall be administered by an officer of the entity, that is, the authorized officer designated by the majority of the directors, partners, and trustees on that behalf and in accordance with Section 101 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act, CAMA 2020. Any information, document, or return submitted through an entity's electronic account shall be deemed duly authenticated. For more on the EEA, CAC Weekly caught up with Tolulokpe Adeola Shanaike, the Assistant Director, Registry Department, who brings us up to date on the initiative. Do enjoy watching.
Many thanks for having you again.
Thank you. Good to be here again.
Sometimes in February this year, that's about 2 months ago, the Commission did come up with the electronic entities account where companies can upload their documents on their account through the CRP, that's the company registration portal. Right. Just talk us through, for the purpose of those who are listening to us. I know we have done this before, but a kind of a recap or a refresher, if you say. What exactly does it entail?
Okay. The entity electronic account, like you rightly mentioned, it's an online account that allows all registered entities to submit their documents, their statutory returns, applications to the Corporate Affairs Commission on the company registration portal. And then such applications once submitted are deemed to be duly authenticated. So you don't need to start asking for signature or such other evidence that this transaction was authorized by the company or the directors. Now, we need to keep talking about this because this is something that is very important in light of easing doing business, which is on the front burner now, and reducing costs for governance by companies, business name operators, and incorporated trustees.
Okay. I do know that the reason behind it, we do understand, is to ensure transparency, accountability, and give the process some kind of integrity. But what else does the Commission intend to achieve by doing that?
Well, generally, and then in line with, in tandem with the objectives of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, and the federal government's initiative on easing doing business in the country. Generally, what the Commission hopes to achieve by deploying this entity electronic account is efficiency. Efficiency in terms of cost, efficiency in terms of speed, efficiency in terms of data integrity. One of the thematic areas of the CAMA 2020 is transparency. And then it also seeks to, that's CAMA 2020, to obtain a more appropriate regulatory framework for medium and small businesses. And for such businesses, usually classified as small if they are companies, small companies, then business names, cost is very important. It is important that they are able to access our services and transact with us at the least cost.
Okay.
So when you have an entity electronic account where your entity, whether it is a company or a business name or an incorporated trustee, and the limited partnership and limited liability partnerships, when they come on stream, what it does for you is to dispense with the cost of having to engage a professional, an agent, an accredited agent, to submit these documents on your behalf. Once you have this account, you can directly submit to us. The cost of agencies also is huge, right? For an application that ordinarily will attract maybe 10,000, which is the official fee to CAC, by the time you bring in agency and all that, you may be paying 30,000, 40,000. So when you net off all of that, you find that it's a reduced cost. And then it's also faster for you because you don't need to be moving your documents from one person to the other, one director to the other to sign. You don't need hard documents. So this electronic account, the application for it is available.
So everything is done real time?
Real time. And then when you have created it and you are submitting, it's real time. And it is important that we emphasize is that it ensures data integrity. Our experience in the past, some of them had been that a lot of times we have had to question the authenticity of documents because signatures were required in them. When we take these documents and compare to the signatures we have on record, quite a number of times we find that there are inconsistencies. Such irregularities that it is clear to you that these signatures were simulated and did not originate from those from whom it was purported to have originated.
So it kind of checkmates
those
fraudulent signatures.
Yes, because you don't need signatures now. The accounts, you maintain it by yourself. Just the same way you maintain your online accounts. And however documents come by that account, it's your problem.
It also gives you some kind of sense of ownership?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
It does. Own it. Take responsibility for the documents you are bringing. So you can't come back and tell us that I did not submit this document. The company did not authorize it. Or the directors were not aware of it. Because it is coming from your own authorized officer.
Okay. And talking about cost, how much does it cost to create this account? When people hear accounts, generally, it has to do with Naira and Kobo. And so for those who are wondering, are we paying another money to create this account?
No, really. You are not paying a dime. Okay. To create the entity electronic account, it is free. All you need to do is go to our website and under resources, download the form. Before you download, once you open it, it's fillable. Fill in all the documents and then download and incidentally, in this case, you have to sign.
Okay.
You know, directors have to sign if they are
Manual
companies.
signing.
Yes,
Okay.
wet ink. I mean, the partners have to sign if they are business names. And incorporated trustees, the trustees have to sign, majority of them.
Okay. What is the response so far from February to date?
Unfortunately, the response has been very low. And that's why, like I said earlier, that we need to keep talking about this. Because the benefits are immense. You know, and
Why do you think the response is low?
You cannot discount this general attitude, you know, of apathy. You know, people don't feel so obligated to do certain things, comply with them, until they feel it becomes absolutely necessary. If you recall, when the national ID card, the scheme was rolled out, and people were advised, go and register, go and register. People did not respond until it was timelined. And then towards the end of it, you found people, the responses, I mean, they were inundating. The same thing with BVN at that time. You know, when there are no sanctions or risk at stake, people don't feel compelled to comply with certain requirements, particularly since this is not an obligatory matter. You know, but people need to understand that there will come a time, and it's very soon, that you can only file or submit documents to the Commission through an account. Manual interventions will be totally out. You recall that certain applications have been exempted from the online platform option. Because, again, their interfaces are not ready. But as their interfaces get ready, those processes are taken off the manual list. And over time, ultimately, there will be none that you'll be filing manually when all the interfaces are ready. Now, at that time, it will be now more imperative for these entities that are registered with us to consider whether they still want to continue paying for agency or they want to do these things by themselves. So, unfortunately, at the moment, the responses are very low. And then you have, again, the challenge of awareness, perhaps. You know, people, as it were, will seem not to really appreciate the benefit of this electronic account. You know, I mean, some of them will have said it will speed up the process for you. It will reduce governance costs for you, because these costs actually go back to governing your entity, you know, running the entity. It will ensure data integrity for you, so that when people come and do due diligence on your entities, what they see in your file is reliable, or the reports that are generated as extracts, they are reliable. Because when investors are interested in you, or some other persons for other reasons are interested in you, it is important that the information they get on you actually says who you are and reflects who you are. You know, so transparency generally and accountability. You know, these are benefits that don't come cheap ordinarily.
Okay, and so for those of us who have registered and yet to receive an email, who have downloaded, filled the form and submitted.
Yeah, for all those who have submitted the applications, the ones created, you should ordinarily get a notification. I mean, all the directors, the partners, or the incorporated trustees should get notifications of the creation of the account. And whoever the authorized officer is that is designated, the login details, the credentials for operating the account will be sent to that designated officer. So I know that you have submitted your own application. You are one of the very responsive one. I will advise that go back and check your inbox. I'm sure the mail would have been sent. You know, you're ordinarily supposed to have received a mail now, telling you that it's been created, and whoever your designated officer is, I don't know if it's you, that person should have received the login details by now.
Okay, so those of us who are registered are the responsible.
Yes, yes, you are the very responsive one. Let me not say responsible, but you are the most responsive, as it were. I mean, to that option.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Can it be used to file post incorporation?
Yes, yes. In fact, that is the main reason. That is the only reason why you have an electronic account, an entity electronic account, because it is only created for you after you are registered. Every other thing you do with the CAC after you are registered is post-incorporation and post-registration. Okay. Now, for the pre-incorporation, there is a similar window that had been in place since 2017, right? And that is called the public user account, which also helps you to apply for registration of an entity without the need to engage an accredited agent.
For those who are wondering and saying, I have not made my annual returns, can I also still create my EE account, my electronic entities account?
Yes. The requirements have not been predicated on updated annual returns,
Okay.
you know, filing of arrays of annual returns. No, people can still apply to create the electronic account, even when their annual returns filings are not up to date,
Okay.
right? Once created, they can use the same account to file the annual returns, because for us, it will make more sense for us. I mean, to make our work easier, if you can submit anything to us using that electronic account, because if it's submitted on the electronic account online, you know, automatically it hits the database. We don't have to, through the back end, update.
Okay.
All right, but if we now say, no, go and pay your annual returns, for Christ's sake, there are entities that will probably pay for 10 years, for 15 years, for 12 years. Now, it will take a lot of our workforce to update that from the back end. So it's more efficient for us to say, go ahead and create the entity electronic account. And then after it's created, submit your returns using the account.
Okay, now that we know that it's free to create the account, what other requirements are you supposed to have for you to create the account?
All other
Does it
requirements.
apply to different business names?
No, it's the same. It's the same process for creating it.
Okay.
Both for companies, for business names, or for incorporated trustees.
Okay.
Now, all other requirements, right, that you need will be requirements that are predicated on the application. You know, by that I mean the requirement that the majority of directors in the case of companies, majority of partners in the case of business names, and majority of the trustees in the case of incorporated trustees have to sign, endorse that application to create the entity electronic account.
Okay.
And that application must also designate somebody as the authorized officer.
Okay.
Now, that authorized officer, for the purpose of submitting these documents, may be one of the directors, maybe one of the partners, maybe one of the trustees, maybe such other persons that the company will designate an authorized officer. But whoever is so designated is deemed to be an officer of the entity, right? Now, beyond that, that person designated is known as the administrator of the account. He can, in turn, create sub-administrators for convenience. You know, but what is paramount, what is necessary to note here is that the directors, the partners, or the trustees can, using the same process of appointment, remove somebody as an authorized officer, you know, and designate some other persons in their steads. And they can also remove any sub-administrator created, you know, under the account by the authorized officer. Okay. So once you download, you open the form and you fill it. Get the majority of the directors, partners, or trustees, as the case may be, to sign. And then you courier the application to us at the commission. Once we receive it, we'll go ahead and create the account. Right. When you are bringing the application, you must also attach a copy of the valid means, that means a current one, of photo identification for the person designated as the authorized officer.
Okay.
Those are, and like I said earlier, it's free.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So these are the requirements for applying to create the electronic account. The electronic account is available on our website. I mean, when you open our website, go to resources, click it, scroll down, you'll see a list of forms that are there. This one is application to create entity electronic account. It is designated from CAC miscellaneous MISC 03. Okay. Yeah, once you open it, you see that it's a fillable PDF. Just complete it, provide all the information, and then download it. Let the majority of directors, partners, or incorporated trustees, as the case may be, let them sign, and then upload and scan print. Let them sign, package with all other requirements, and send to us. Okay.
For those of us who have done it, it's very easy, straightforward. You know, it's something you can do within a minute. And
I'm happy. I mean, that's the testimony live.
Yes, of course, of course. For people who will say, because of our attitude, where people don't respond to things on time, is the Commission going to put like a timeline to say, once you don't have your electronic entities account by this particular date, you will not have that opportunity again? Are we going to have some some kind of restriction?
No.
Or some kind of deadline?
Yes. It will be difficult to put a timeline to it, particularly since it's a discretion, afforded the entities by the law, right? It is not a mandatory provision. It says any document requiring authentication, any proceeding with us may be authenticated by a director, a secretary, or any other officer of the company or entity that is so designated. So what that means is that it's a choice. It's a choice. Whether you want to explore that window or not is actually and totally at your discretion. Okay. And it is even more difficult to do that given the fact that the accredited agents and users of the commission services are still there offering their services. So what we believe would drive compliance will be the cost of using accredited agents. You cannot eliminate accredited agency because quite a number of entities, particularly entities with high-profile dealings and transactions and all that, will still feel more comfortable with professional consultants handling their statutory obligations, which will come again with a professional advice, But largely, we believe that over time, particularly for small, medium enterprises, when they balance cost against efforts, they will eventually come to the realization that it is cheaper for them, it is faster for them, it is more efficient for them, and it's more transparent for them, to create an electronic account for their entities and submit all their documents in the account.
Mr. Tolula Kweshonaika, Assistant Director, Registry Department, thank you very much indeed for your time.
You are welcome, Adina.
Please be reminded that you can download the application form from CACMISE3 on our website at www.cac.gov.ng. Now, the duly completed application forms should be forwarded to the Commission by courier. Upon creation, the notice would be sent to the directors, partners and trustees by email, while the electronic account credentials would be forwarded to the authorized officer also by email. And now from the EEA, we move on to show you how to register your company seamlessly. Enjoy watching.
Company registration. To begin, reserve the company name that you intend to register and then proceed to click on Start Registration to begin. Step 1. Enter the details of the company. Click on Save and Continue. Step 2. Add the objects of the company. Click on Save and Continue. Step 3. Under Articles of Association, you can either create your own Articles of Association or simply adopt the default Articles of Association provided. You can also edit each part of the default Articles of Association to fit your company's purpose. Click on Save and Continue. Step 4. On the directors, enter the details of at least one director. If you want to hide your residential address from public record, click on the Hide Residential Address from Public Record toggle button. Click on Save and Continue. Step 5. Under Secretary, this requirement is optional for small companies and you may skip the step by clicking on the Click Here link button to proceed. However, if you wish to add a secretary, click on the Add Secretary button, enter the details of the secretary, and click on Save and Continue. Step 6. Under Statement of Issued Share Capital, add the share details and enter details of proprietor and click on Save and Continue. Note, you must allot the entire issued share capital. Step 7. On the persons with significant control, enter the particulars of the person with significant control of the company. Step 8. Under Statement of Compliance, if you are an applicant or an accredited agent other than a legal practitioner, fill in your details and click on Save and Continue, or you can skip this step. Under Document Upload, scan and upload all the documents labeled Yes under the If Required column, and where the documents labeled Optional applies to you, please scan and upload to avoid a query on your application. Click on Save and Continue to preview. Step 9. Preview your entries and if satisfied, click on the Proceed to Payment in order to make payment. Remember to remain on the remitter page after you have received a confirmation of payment. Step 11. After payment, you will be redirected to your dashboard where you will make payment for your stamp duty. After making payment, your application will enter the pending panel on your dashboard under registration. When your registration has been approved, your certificate will be automatically generated on your registered panel where you can download and print it.
You can also get more educating videos on our website at www.cac.gov.ng. And that's where we draw the curtain on this week's edition of the program CAC Weekly. We do hope you enjoyed watching. For comments and inquiries, please take advantage of our social media handles and our helplines. Remember, on Twitter, it is at CAC Nigeria 1. On Instagram and Facebook, it is Corporate Affairs Commission. Our email is at cservice@cac.gov.ng. And our website is at www.cac.gov.ng. You could also reach us via our helplines on the numbers 081-822-99016 or 081-822-98971. 090-874-01598 or 090-874-01599 and 090-874-01600. Do join us next week for another interesting edition of the program. Same time, same station. From me, Amina Jibril, and the whole team here, it is bye for now.